Hello chess friends and welcome to your of Chess channel and welcome to a truly remarkable game that I simply cannot wait to show you. Welcome to a spectacular game played by Akimbo against Stockfish 16 in a crazy advanced variation of the Caro-Kann Defense. And this game, I promise you, has simply one of the greatest exchange sacrifices that I've seen in my life. It's not one of those exchange sacrifices in which, I don't know, someone sacrifices a rook for a knight and then the game is over after a couple more moves. The sacrifice has, in this particular case, an immediate impact on the game. But in this exchange sacrifice, the game lasted for more than 30 moves, so Stockfish played with a knight against a rook for more than 30 moves. In my opinion, a very crazy game. Put your seatbelts on and enjoy in a wild Caro-Kann Defense. So with the white pieces, the akimbo engine opened with move e4. The fish response was c6, the Caro-Kann. We have now the move d4, d5, and now after move e5 we have the advanced variation. You don't want to play now the move e6 because you're keeping your bishop locked, so that's why very important move now, bishop to f5, the best move, keeping the bishop outside of the pawn chain. We have h4, the tile variation, immediately trying to create a dangerous flank attack with the move g4. Stockfish protects it with the move h5, controls the g4 square. We have bishop to d3, bishop takes d3, queen to d3, and now after queen to a5, bishop to d2. Stockfish allows here the tempo against the queen, but goes now into a simplified line with this move queen to a6. It's a very nice strategic idea to simplify the game in an early stage of the opening by trading off the queens, because for instance, if white continues here with queen to a6, I would say black is really solid here. I would even dare to say that black is even better here, especially because of the bishop's activity. Look at this, when we play now the move e6, all of our pawns are on light squares, which is a good thing for a dark square bishop, because the pawns are supposed to play on this opposite colored squares than your bishop is aiming. So now in this particular case, I think the dark square bishop of blacks would be much better. Notice white's centralized pawns are on dark squares, which will become, I think, a little bit a tough time here for the dark square bishop. So that's why after move queen to a6, in order to somehow keep the tension in the game, white is going many times into this line, and here akimbo plays it with move e6. Now you don't want to play something like f takes e6, because first of all you get this one, queen to g6 check, you have to escape, and now knight to f3, knight to e5 is going to happen. In my opinion, strategically black is lost here. So that's why here after move e6, Stockfish continued with queen takes d3. We have e takes f7, first the check, of course. We have king to f7, and now after c takes d3. Okay, you can say now, dude, what you're talking about? How is this game becoming now really a wild game, a wild attacking game? The queens are off the board. This is not such a complicated game. I guarantee you, Stockfish will, even in this simplified game, manage to somehow spice up the game by activating the pieces. Very crazy. So first of all, e6 by the fish, knight to f3, bishop to d6, controlling the e5 square. We have knight to g5 check, king escapes, calcing, and now knight to a6 here by Stockfish going with the knight on c7, protecting here the weak e6 pawn. Of course, also wants to develop, maybe also to attack the d3 and also d4 pawn by white, which is also now a disadvantage in white position. So there are many weaknesses, I would say, in both positions. As I said here, d3, d4 weak by white. On the other hand, black is here e6 weak, has also many square weaknesses in the position. The c5 square could be occupied, so very tough to defend all of the squares for both sides. Now we have knight to c3, knight to h6, with the preparation to get the knight on f5, attacking the d4 pawn, and as I said, also in some other lines, maybe to play knight to b4, hitting the d3 weak. We have rook from a to e1, and now Stockfish plays a brilliant move, I would say, knight to f5. Plays more actively here, doesn't want to just defend the pawn. Stockfish is saying, I'll have to be active here. If I play passively, then I could be destroyed by the activity of white. So that's why knight to f5, really great move. We have now rook takes e6, king to d7, rook to g6, attacking the pawn. Stockfish protects it, and now after knight to f3, akimbo also protects the pawn on d4. But now after rook from a to e8 by Stockfish and rook to g5, Stockfish noticed here after move g6 that the rook of blacks is a little bit misplaced here. It's a little bit strange placed. It could be attacked now by the bishop. The knight is controlling the g3 square. This pawn is controlling the g4 square, so that's why akimbo had to play now the move g4. Although Black lost the pawn, but suddenly the game is turning. Suddenly, black's pieces are becoming more and more active. We have h takes g4, rook takes g4, knight to b4, going for the d3 pawn. We have now a knight to e1. Akimbo protects now the d3 weakness. A rook to h8. So you see now, because Stockfish sacrificed the pawn, Stockfish got back now with huge activity. With every move, Stockfish is creating a simple threat, is forcing basically white here to react. If you take now rook takes g6, then after rook to h4, things are getting very dangerous, I would say, here for white. The rooks will be probably double up on the h file, very tough to defend. The bishop very dangerous. Knight on f5 also very dangerous. Maybe in some lines this knight from b4 could be included into the attack. So I will not say this is good line here for white, if white, for instance, takes out now the pawn on g6. So that's why after rook to h8, that's why bishop to g5. Akimbo protects now the h4 weakness. We have bishop to e7, attacking the bishop. And now the real fun starts. Now Akimbo plays a3. Forces, of course, this active knight to retreat. But Stockfish has a different idea in mind. Stockfish plays now the powerful bishop takes g5. If you play here, first of all, a takes b4, then we can go here to f6. Again, there is this weakness on d4, there is this weakness on h4, so I would not say this is, again, a good line for white. So after bishop to g5, that's why h takes g5. It seems so that Akimbo defended everything, and basically, with the move a3, many of us, I think, would play the move knight to a6, but now Stockfish finds a beautiful exchange sacrifice with the move rook to e1. Really wild stuff. After rook takes e1, now Stockfish doesn't want to even take the d3 pawn. Stockfish actually goes for the d4 pawn. Attacks first of all the rook. Now Stockfish takes the pawn on d4. And when we watch now material, white is up the fully exchange. The pawns are the same, so we have now 5 pawns for both sides, but Stockfish is down the exchange. But the problem in white's position is actually the lack of the activity of the rooks, but also this knight on c3 is not on the optimal square. It's of course on the starting best square, I would say, but look at this. Where are you going to go with this knight? Even if you go with knight to a4, maybe targeting the c5 weakness, black can protect it easily with the move b6. So look how powerful black's knights are. The rook is already also very active. This rook is passive, doesn't have so many good squares to escape. This rook is always stuck a little bit to the defense. So great exchange sacrifice. Even if you go here to e1, then you risk maybe some ideas of knight to f3. So very tough to defend now this position for white. We have king to g2, knight to h4 check, king to g3, new check. Stockfish reroutes the knight but keeps now huge pressure against the king. King to f4, rook to f8, getting the rook where already the king is now. Black is threatening some dangerous discovered checks. We have rook to g1. For instance, if you try f3 here or something, then the huge threat is this one check, then again a new check. We take out then the piece, then also we could, I think, activate the knight here. So in any of these lines, white is losing back the exchange, so that's why not a good continuation. After rook to f8, that's why rook to g1, knight to d4 check. Here Akimbo escapes, and now new attack. You see again this beautiful simple threat method by Stockfish. Stockfish is not allowing here any counterplay by white. We have rook to h1, king to e6. In a potential endgame, we should of course include the king into the attack. Stockfish does it immediately, says, I'm not endangered here, your rooks are not active, my pieces are much more active. Rook to h3, we have knight takes g5, Stockfish grab the pawn, very important move now. Rook to h1, we have knight to f3 again, we have rook to h3, and now a5. Rook to h1, Akimbo is trying now finally to activate the rooks on the 7th rank, maybe even on the 8th rank. Akimbo, I would say, would love now to simplify the game by trading at least something here. Akimbo would love maybe to go into a fully endgame stage with the rook against the knight without maybe the one of those dangerous knights in the center of the board. So Stockfish continues here with the move b5. We have rook to h8. As I said, Akimbo is trying to simplify the game. Stockfish is not allowing that. Rook to f6, very important move. Rook to d8. Even if you try here, maybe rook to c8, not so dangerous. We'll simply go like this. Then again, this move, knight to d4. You see, with every move, again, we're creating new activities. You escape, then we take out this one. Game over, I would say, here for white. So this is not working. So that's why after rook to f6, Akimbo tried rook to d8. We have king to e7, an attack against the rook. And now another brilliant move by the fish. King to d6. Again, akimbo cannot take here the pawn on a5. This wasn't played in the game, but I wanted to show again this dangerous stuff that Stockfish can prepare. Check here, then again, new check, new attack against the pawn, b2 weak, f2 weak. You cannot defend everything. So again, a messed up game here for white. Very, very crazy. After king to d6, actually, white cannot take the weak pawn on a5. We have rook to d8 by akimbo. King to e7. Again, this a couple of repeating moves, but now Stockfish decides to go to c5 here. Very, very active place for the king, now with some ideas maybe even to crack the position here on the queen side. We have knight to a2, knight to c2, check. Again, the king has to step back, and again, Stockfish reshuffles the knights on better and more active squares, but keeps, you see the knights well glued together, very, very compact with the support of the rook. Again, dangerous stuff, especially against the weak pawn on f2. We have king to f1, rook to f3, attacking now the d3 weakness. Knight to c1. Look how passive white's pieces are. Again, akimbo is forced to play with all of these pieces on the first rank. Knight to e3, a new simple threat. Beautiful, beautiful attacking play by Stockfish. King to e1, knight to g4. Again, simple threat attacking the f2 weakness. We have now rook to f1, knight to e5. Again, a simple threat. So that's why akimbo is forced now to protect. And now, good move here by Stockfish. Whenever there is a certain rule that I like to apply in chess, when there is never a better improvement for your minor piece, or maybe for your other piece, probably the best next move is your pawn move. So you see, now Stockfish is even advancing the pawn. Maybe he's even threatening g4, g3. If the pawn gets on g4, look at this. Everything is again compact, glued together. Everything is playing in a beautiful, depending harmony. Everything is really, really spiced up here. So great position here for black. Rook to e8, again, attack against the knight. We have now a rook to h3. Great move by the fish. If you take, of course, then you get the fork on f3. Rook to a8 by akimbo, and now a4. Stockfish keeps now finally the structure on the queen side healthy. We have rook to g8, king to d6, king to c3, and again reshuffling the pieces, not only escaping but also protecting here the g5 pawn. We have now king to b4, and now comes a beautiful move, rook to f3. Great move. This move is very, very important. This move is not allowing here white to create any spaces, maybe to, I don't know, maybe somehow open the f file. Rook to f3 creates a blockade, and the cool part is that Stockfish did not take the pawn on d3. Many of us would take the pawn on d3. For instance, if you take knight to d3, knight to d3, rook to d3, I think this is not a favorable trade for black. You lost your main strength here. You lost your active knights that were dancing all over the board. So I would say this is not good for black. Look at this. King to a5 is coming. Okay, maybe black can activate, but in some lines, look at this. The rooks are finally breathing here for white. So that's why great choice by Stockfish. Rook to f3. Stockfish is saying here, you have a weakness, but I don't want to take it immediately. I can take it whenever I want to take it. I will leave this weakness for the later stage of the game. I want to, first of all, again, improve my position. Really, really great concept here by Stockfish. King to a5. We have now the move d4. Stockfish fixes now the weakness on d3. It's not allowing maybe d4 by white here. Now, this is really becoming a long-term weakness in white's position. We have rook to e8, attacking now the knight. Knight to d7. We have rook to e1, and now knight to c5. Again, reshuffling, but keeping the knights active. And we have to say it, this king is now already very endangered. You see how important it is now to attack the king here. This king on a5 will be now the main attacking motif here for Stockfish 16. We have rook to f1, rook to f7, threatening, as I said, some dangerous checks. Only two squares are possible here for white. The b4 square, and now also the b6 square. That's why rook to a8, akimbo is protecting it. And now comes another brilliant move here by Stockfish. Maybe, if you like, just for fun, you can pause the video and try to see now the best continuation here for black. I would even dare to say black moves and wins the game. Okay, here Stockfish played an amazing b4. Really, really wild stuff. This move opens now the position again on the queen side. For instance, if you try here king to b4, then there is this problem. King to d5 with a checkmate threat even. Not a checkmate threat, but the issue is, for instance, if you try here king to a5, then we have this one. Rook to b7, and I'm not seeing good ways how we're going to defend this position against rook to b5, which would be actually a checkmate. You're trying rook to e1, for instance. Beautiful, beautiful pattern that Stockfish recognized. So here after king to d5, for instance, if you take with king to b4, then if you try here maybe rook to b8 to control the b file, then you get this one, knight to a6, and again the game is over, I would say, here for white. So that's why after move b4, Akimbo tried to move b3 here to somehow create some escape routes for the king, but now rook to b7 anyway, with a huge threat of rook to b5. We have b takes a4, and let's pause the video again. Try to see now the best continuation here for black. Black moves and delivers even checkmate. So again, just for fun, try to see now the best continuation. Okay. Here, Stockfish found the amazing knight takes a4. Very, very wild stuff. For instance, if you try king takes a4, then there is this problem, knight to c5 again, and you check, and again, this beautiful pattern, rook to b5. Crazy, crazy stuff. So after knight to a4, Akimbo cannot take it. Akimbo is trying to do this. Stockfish doesn't even care about this rook, go simply here to c7, because Stockfish wants to keep this checkmate pattern with both of these knights and with the pawn and with the rook on b5. So we have knight to b3. Now comes this idea, knight to c5. We have rook to d7. Akimbo is just prolonged the game. Knight to c5. It becomes simply game over here after a couple more moves. King to c7. Rook to a3. Rook to b6, and now after move f4. Knight to b7, and the game was over. So, pooh. Crazy, crazy stuff here by Stockfish. Really, really beautiful game. Beautiful Caro-Kann defense out of this equality, beautiful strategic line going into this simplified methods of the Caro-Kann defense. Then later recognize the endangered rook position, sacrifice the pawn, and then activating then both of these beautiful knights all over the board. Checkmate patterns. We have seen great strategic elements of endgames, in my opinion. Very spectacular game by Stockfish 16. So, okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really, really enjoyed it a lot. This was really one of the greatest, deepest exchange sacrifices that I've seen in my life. If you want to see more spectacular, wild, sharp, tactical, beautiful, strategic chess, check out our Come to Chess Games Played by Computer series. Here's the link of our playlist, and if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.